Hello, welcome to another 7C stream. Today I am going to walk you through building decks in Untap.in and playing games and using the interface. Untap.in is the URL for a web-based application that lets you play a lot of your favorite old CCGs and some current ones online for free without having to download anything against yourself or with friends. So let's just dive into it. When you first create an account and log in, it's free to create an account. You will see a screen similar to this. You'll probably be on the chat section. Click on Join Channels, and from there you get to pick a lot from a various array of games. You'll want to pick 7C at the bottom and save. You can be in up to 3 channels at any particular point in time. That lets you enter into the chat room, talk to people, organizing games, ask questions, yada yada. Next tab over is deck building. So here, let's continue building a deck that I started for Ernesto's Power. Or even better yet, let's create a new deck. If you create a deck, it lets you pick from various options. You type in the title, click on Create Deck. So we'll type in Ernesto version 2 and create deck. This brings you into the deck builder. Deck Builder lets you search for cards, and then on the right-hand side are where in the deck that you want it to show up. So it can start in play, start in your hand, start in the main deck, sideboard, etc. For 7C, you don't need to enter in the Cs. They automatically start, so don't worry about that. You probably want your captain and ship to start in play, and then you'll probably want your starting crew and other starting cards somewhere on the side, probably in your hand or your sideboard. It's really up to you. A lot of options. So for this deck, let's start typing in cards. Overall, it's pretty straightforward. There's a few little tricks that are important to point out. So here, I'm going to take my captain. When you pick a card, hover over it, make sure the image is available. If the image is not available, there are a few options you have, and I'll go over those in a second. Here at Ernesto, the image is available. We don't have to worry about it, and we'll drag it over to in play. Another thing to note is that it defaults to 3 of a card, which is the maximum number of cards you can have in a deck in 7C. So you'll want to set that down to 1 for Ernesto, since you don't want to start 3 ships. Ernesto's Power is a card that I often play in this deck, and I will start that in hand. 2-1. Freedom's Key is Ernesto's ship. Let's say we want, yes. Say we want to try a different ship. Here's the Stalwart Raider. And you can just drag that in as well. Put that 1. Alright, well, let's start searching through cards. Let me pull up my handy deck list. Brutes. 1 copy of Brutes. And this is my starting crew, so I'll put that there. Sonar was a card released in a later set and a favorite of mine. He's got a really good stat line with being captive. He has some influence. He's got a secret society symbol in the top right hand corner. He's pretty good. Belladonna. Bella. Belladonna, I believe, came out in Parting Shot. He has Scry. Scry is a very powerful sorcery. Alright, and that pretty much does it. And then Safe Harbor. Now, if you want to add in your own custom cards, there are options for that in untap.in. I won't go over that now, but I will go over editing cards, which is very similar interface. So, Berserkers. Berserker. Alright, we'll add in 2 of those, and these will go into the main deck. So let's put that up here in the main deck. Faisal. Seer's Secret. Now, if you do add images, make sure you add the most recent printing because that game text sometimes overrides some of the previous printings. Something that was very common with a lot of card games. Kirstoff. Now we'll just keep going through here until we find one without an image. I think that most of these will, but if we find one, I want to make sure that I can show you guys how to add new images as well. Next card, Lou. Captain Thugs. Now I've gone through a few different iterations with this, and I have entered in a lot of images for cards. Let's see if I can find one that does not have one. Black Heart. I bet you that has multiple printings. Image there. Alright. Let's go through these and see if everybody has an image. Now, if a card doesn't have an image, don't worry. It doesn't mean that it's not necessarily there. It just means that, so what you can do if it doesn't have an image is you can click on this little tiny icon on the right-hand side. HE is Horizon's Edge. FD is Fate's Debt. That's clickable for each of these cards, and you can go and click on Select Image. Most of the time, there is a later printing, and that has the image. In this case, IS. We'll click on that, and look, there you go. So if I click on that, and click on IS, now this card, Porte Escape, has an image, and I can click and drag it, and I'll be okay. If you make a mistake and it doesn't have it, you're going to have to rely on the blank image, but use just the game text bubble underneath. Now let's say I wanted to add in the image to that card. What you would do is click, and you would click Edit Card. Now that lets you go and brings up this menu here, which gives you a couple of other options. Let me try and get that image off. There we go. All right, Edit Card. Horizon's Edge, the one with no image. Let me get that image off. There we go. Bear with me for 1 second. Let me try and get this to come up without the image getting in the way. All right, there we go. So here we want to add, Horizon's Edge had no image. What we want to do is we want to add an image into the Horizon, the HE version of the card. So what you do is click on the edit button right here. It'll give you a warning. It'll tell you that this is part of a public database. When you change this image, this is for everyone, which is great for you and your friends. But you also kind of want to make sure you have the right image, so that way, so say for example, I were to log in, I would see the same card as well, and the correct card. So you click that. Here's the game text. If you want to change or add game text, that's the option there, and then image. I like CCG Trader. I think that they have pretty robust selection of images on their website. But if you were to go and upload your own to a Google Drive or scan your own card, you can take any URL and use that as well. So once again, we're looking at Porte Escape. And it comes right up. I'm going to use, here's two images here, Horizon's Edge and Iron Shadow. If you're really sure, you can use the older image, but I'm going to be careful, use the latest to make sure the game text is up to date. I'll click get this full screen and click copy image address. I'll go back in to untap.in, and where it says URL to card image, I am going to copy and replace right there. That's it. So now it's got that image in there. It might take a little bit for the cache to refresh, so you might have to refresh the page, or go back and go away and come back to it, and then it will eventually update with that image. Let me refresh right now, and we will test this out. Alright, type in the Porte Escape, a great plot twist. And there you go. You can see that the set icon was HE, and now the image shows up for the card. So that's how you fix that if you have that issue. Alright, now let's go and play a game. I have a bunch of decks saved here. I forget exactly where, but you can change the image card for your deck under your deck information. Once again, I can't remember right now, so we won't go through that, but I'll go dive right into the gameplay. Here we go. You click on the next icon at the top for games. 7C is selected because that's where the channel we were in, and then you click on new game. Here you can play a friend, you can play yourself. You can, if you are playing someone random, you can kind of let them know what your play skill is, put a title in, number of players. We're going to play a solo game. I'm going to disable the mirror player. That would just be what it sounds like, but it's a little more confusing. We'll enter in the game. Alright, and I'm going to pick a deck that's always been a favorite of mine. I'll pick the Blink Attack deck. Alright, so here we are. Here's the Seas. I'm going to move them all in to the middle of the screen here. Now, if you want to attack, there's two ways to attack cards. You can click on the bottom. The bottom, by the way, is how you select the card. There's that little, and if there's multiple cards, that's what you'll have to use to try to select the right one. And then I'll just double click text. The other way you can do this is if you click onto single click, it gives you this menu. The menu also gives you all different shortcuts. So here we go. I'll just click the tech button there. Same thing right here, and tech. All right. Next thing, there's no everything is with left mouse click. So if you click on the right mouse click, which I tend to do quite often, I'm used to playing in a different program. You know, go back here on the deck. Same thing. Here's all your options. You can shuffle the deck, find a card. If you were to find a card, it brings up the menu here. You can click in the search function, and it'll come right up. And then that lets you drag it wherever else you need it to go. Once you're done with that option, you can close it out right here, and you're back to your game. Here's your hand, which your opponent can't see. There's your deck on the right. On the left is your sunk pile and your discard pile. And no options there, maybe because there's no cards, but here we'll drag out my starting crew and my captain. I'll hover over, I believe the general starts in the frothing sea. You can see there the images on the top and the game text that is on the bottom. It's really good just in case your opponent forgets to put in game text, or if you miss a card, you don't have to stop the game. This is a good point to point out. If you do see an image that is missing and you want to put that in there, you can open untap.in in multiple tabs. You can open it in another tab, edit the card with the image. It'll be right here. If you refresh this page, you probably won't lose. 99% of the time, you will not lose your game. You'll be right back in it, and the card image will be refreshed into the game after you've updated it in a separate tab. Or maybe you have a friend update it as well. Put the cards all out, and here we'll click on and draw. That's pretty much it. I'll try to play a game with this and give you a demo of what it's like in real life. But here you go. You see your hand. Here there's a card where the image isn't quite working, but I'll rely on the game text underneath. And if I need to, I'll come back and edit that card in the database, my deck builder, and make sure the correct image is shown in. Here you go. If you click on a card, it has send to, and it gives you your options. So you can send to the bottom of the deck, top, face down pile, which this game doesn't really use face down piles, but it's good to know. Sunk pile, discard, etc. Last thing to note is that Untapped.in doesn't have a lot of automation for this. It's just a really good tabletop thing to let you kind of push virtual cardboard around with your opponent. So if you're playing with somebody else, you'll want to rely heavily on the chat, which is good in a pinch, but not the best solution. What I would recommend is going into the Discord server. We have a 7C CCG Discord. I will have the link in the description for this video. You can play. There's a couple of video chats in there, audio chats. You can voice with a friend, play. If you have any rules questions, there's rules forums and resources in there as well. And if you want people to hang out, you can either do it direct and do it privately, or if you want people to hang out, you can do it in the chat, and people can drop in and out as you play. Um, Lastly, join our Discord server. Link is in the description. Visit our website, 7c.info. Follow us on, hit that subscribe and like button, and you'll get updates whenever we upload new videos, especially when we upload a video playing this live or playing, our general gameplay, deck building, strategy, etc. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. I hope you're able to play a lot of games with your friends, and be safe.